All right, so let's do a video about putting the electronics inside your Sumobot. The first thing I'm going to do is right-click and hide a couple of my pieces so I'll be able to see inside. At this point, I've already added motors, so I don't need to worry about adding those electronics. But I've got a lot of other stuff that needs to go in there. So I'm going to click Insert, and I'm going to go to that other document. It's a public document. It is called PPHS Sumo. Or I might have shared it with you directly. It might be under your shared documents as well. We're going to need to pull out all the electronics from that document to make sure we have space to fit inside them. So let's go down. We need a battery. You need one battery. Just place it out there. I'm going to place all of my electronics out there first. That way I don't have to keep coming back to this. I'm going to need 2 lever nuts. Now, in an ordinary year, you'd have to worry about how to assemble these. But today, and with us doing this digital, you just have to make sure they'll fit. 2 lever nuts. You're going to need 2 motor controllers. 1 for each motor. You'll need an RC receiver. That's the radio. And you'll need what's called an UBEC. UBEC stands for Universal Battery Elimination Circuit. Back in the day, you now click the green check. Back in the day, you used to have a separate battery for your receiver because the voltage that the RC car, plane, whatever it was, would run at would be different than the voltage of your RC receiver. But I can use this. I can connect the UBEC to my battery and then connect it to the RC receiver. It'll bring down the voltage. All right. So let's get all these things in position. Where you put them isn't so important as much as that they can fit. In the real world, honestly, you want to put things next to what they're going to be used for. But with wiring, you can run wires all around the inside of a big open Sumobot like this. So I'm going to start by attaching my motor controllers. So I'm going to use my Fasten Mate. I'm going to click Fasten Mate, and I'm going to click one side of the motor controller. Let me zoom in here. I'm going to select this mate connector right in the middle of the side here. And I'm going to mount it. I'll mount it to the bottom of my chassis. So I'm going to click right there. Now, this isn't really where I want it to be. First of all, it's upside down. So I need to start off by flipping it. Okay. Let me view it from the top now. And now I kind of want to locate it somewhere near these motors. I'm going to put them both right here vertically like that. So because there isn't a mate connector out in the middle of the chassis here, I chose the one in the middle. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my offset commands and my rotate commands to put it where I want. So first let me rotate it so it's vertical like I wanted. And now if you'll see, my Y, this green line, is right and left. My X, this red line, is up and down. So if I click this checkbox here under offset, I can add an X and a Y offset. If I want to move this up a little bit, I need to add to the X, which let's say 3 centimeters. You can see how it moved up there. Maybe 3.5 might be better. There we go. Now I want to move it a little bit to the left. So Y is positive to the right. I can see the line going that way. So I'm going to go to the left, maybe -2 centimeters. Ooh, that was a little bit too far. -1.5. There, that looks good. This would be a really good spot for my motor controller. It's located near my motor, so I can connect to it pretty easily. Let's go ahead and let's remember that 3.5 centimeters and -1.5, because I'm going to put the other one in a similar spot. Okay, let's fasten this one. So click my Fasten Mate, select this spot right in the middle. Now let's select a mate on the chassis. Sometimes it takes a moment to move it there. Okay, it's there, but it looks like it's upside down again, so let me flip it. That way, there we are. And let's rotate it. And let's go ahead and move it. Let's offset it in the X direction. Before it was, I think 3.5. Let's try that again. Yep, that looks right. And in the Y direction, I went negative 1.5. So let's go with positive 1.5 to move it the other way. There we go. That's a great spot for it. So I can imagine my motor controller right there. And you might have to play with these locations to get them where you want. Let's go ahead and let's put in my lever nuts. I'm going to mount these to the back. I think that'll be easy. I'll mount one on the left and one on the right, and I'll put the battery right in the middle here. So let's start with the battery. It's like if we need to flip it, there we go. Now that's a pretty good location. Mounting it right to the middle there. Realistically, it might sit at the bottom, but that's where I'm going to put it. That's fine. Let's mount my lever nuts right next to it because they will be used for my positive and my negative terminals. I'll mount it to the center there. It's like it needs to be flipped. And I need to move it in the X direction, let's say 5 centimeters. Maybe a little bit more, 6 centimeters. Cool. And let's put one on the other side. It'll be negative 6 centimeters. Using my fasten commands. Mounting to the back. Let me flip it so it's on the inside. And we said negative 6 this time. So it goes that way. That looks good. It's got space for that. All I've got left is my receiver and my UBEC. Let me insert my receiver. Use the bottom. Oops, I already inserted it. It's already there. Instead of insert, I'm going to use fastened. My mistake. I forgot I'd already put it down there. Let me select make connector on the bottom. Let me flip it. Offset it. That works. That's a good spot for it. And I'll go ahead and put the UBEC right next to it. So it should be right there next to it. Fastened. Whoops, let me zoom in out a little bit. There we are. Select that bottom surface and let me put it here. I'm going to rotate it. All right, and move it down a little bit, which if I can see here, the X is the up and down. So I'll do negative 1 centimeter. I'll move it down. And if I move it left, the Y, this green line, is pointing to the right. So if I want to go left, it'd be negative. Let's try negative 2 centimeters. Maybe negative 3. Anyways, that's good. All right. So I can see here I've got all of my electronics, and they all fit inside. So this is really about making sure that everything will fit. You want to have plenty of space because in the real world, there'd be lots of wires. There'd be a wire going from the battery. The red wire would go to one lever nut. The black wire would go to the other lever nut. And then your motor controllers, both, would be wired to the red and black sides with their positive and negative terminals. And then their signal wire side would go to the radio, which is right here. And their other part next to the signal, the other side here would also go to the motors right here. So they're located well. And also off of the lever nuts, you would have wires coming to give power to your UBEC, which would then be running power to the receiver. And that would be everything you need. It all fits inside. Let me go ahead and show everything. So if I right click, show all instances, then those things will reappear. All right, so that's how you add electronics. That way you make sure you've got room for everything that needs to fit inside there. Good luck doing that. Let me know if you have any questions.